Hello students, I am Ashfaq Alam from Yasir Innovative Software Private Limited. I will be your JavaScript instructor. So let's begin with the question, what is JavaScript? JavaScript is a programming language which allows the user to add the contents dynamically. In other words, it makes the web pages interactive. Like with the help of HTML and CSS, we can structure and style the contents. But with JavaScript, we can make the contents, like add the contents dynamically. Suppose we want to do something upon clicking a button. So all these things will be done by JavaScript. Okay. So for writing the JavaScript, we need a text editor. You can either use Notepad, Notepad++, or Visual Studio Code. Okay. So you can download Visual Studio Code. In this tutorial, we will use the Visual Studio Code text editor. So you can download the Visual Studio Code by going onto the VS Code and the download options. Here you can select the suitable options. Okay, then you can download from here. Okay, so I have downloaded the VS Code and installed it on my computer. Okay, so we'll create a folder first. We'll create a folder in any of the drives. If you have installed the XAMPP, the local server, you can go to htdocs and create a folder. I will create a folder first. So I have created a folder. Okay. So now we'll open this folder with the help in the VS Code. So we will go to the required path and open that folder. So we'll go to our XAMPP, our htdocs, and our first project. Okay. So we have selected that folder. Now we will create a file named index.html. In this, we'll write some HTML code. Okay, so this is the required syntax given by VS Code. Like you can you can type exclamation mark and hit enter, and this required syntax will be given by the VS Code. So, like we'll use suppose we'll write some HTML code here. Suppose come to JavaScript. Okay, so we'll write something. Okay, and suppose we want to show it to in our browser. Okay, so we will copy the path and we'll just paste it here. Okay, so this is our required text that we have written in this VS Code. Okay, so this is the normal HTML. Okay, suppose we want to render this text upon clicking a button. Okay, when we click a button, this text should come. Okay, so what we'll do here is, here we'll create a button. Okay, we'll give the button click me name. Okay, so we'll save it and let's see what we have got. Okay, so we'll refresh it and we have got a button click me. So upon clicking, here nothing happens. What we want is, we want this text to come when we click the button. Okay, so we'll perform some event. Okay, we'll add an event on this button. Okay, so that will be on click event. Okay, so you can see various events are coming. Okay, so we'll choose on click event. Here we can give some function that we want to. Suppose we'll name the function. Okay, so here we have given the function name as my function. Okay, now we want to do something when a button is clicked. So we'll do this inside our JavaScript code. Okay, so how do we write JavaScript? So the JavaScript code is written inside a script tag. Okay, so all the JavaScript code is written inside this script tag. Okay, so we'll write this function. We'll write this function name, and we'll do something when a button is clicked. So what we want to do here. Okay, so suppose we will keep this h2 blank. Okay, so we'll refresh it, and now only that button is here. Okay, what we want is when we click onto this button, that required text should come here. Okay, so for targeting this h2, we will target it by its id. Okay, so we'll give this h2 an id. Okay, suppose I will give a demo. You can give any name you want. Okay, so I have given this id, demo id. Okay, so how we can target this id? So we'll write document dot get element by id, this first option. Okay, here you can see various options are coming. We'll use one by one. Okay, so we are using get element by id. So we are targeting this id here because we want our required text to be placed inside this heading tag, h2 tag. Okay, so we will give that required id inside this, and we want to place that text inside this. So we have to write inner html. Okay, we can also write inner text. Okay, here it will be of no difference, but when we deep deep diver in dive deeper into JavaScript, you can understand the difference between the inner HTML and the inner text. Okay, so what we want to write here is we can give our required text, that is welcome to JavaScript world. So this is the required text that we want to give upon clicking the button. So what we are doing here is, first we have created a button and we have assigned an event, on click event inside that button, and we are performing something here. Okay, so we have given a function here. So when this function is executed, this code here, this piece of code is executed. Okay, so what it is doing is it is targeting this h2 tag. We want to place this required text inside this h2 tag. Okay, so we are targeting it by its id, and we are writing inner html because we want to place that text inside that h2 tag. Okay, so we'll save it. Now we'll go to our browser, we'll refresh it. Now when we click onto this button, see what happens. Now our required text is coming because of this on click event. Okay, if we will not give this on click event, this button will be of no use. So we have to give some event, perform some event on this onto this button in order to do something. Okay, so we can, one more method is there. We can also write this whole text inside this. Okay, sorry. Notice one thing here. We have to wrap this whole piece of code inside a single quote. Okay, because we have given double quotes inside this text. Okay, so here we have to wrap this inside our double quote. Okay, so what we have done here is we have wrapped this whole piece of text inside the single quotes, and inside that all the texts are wrapped inside the double quotes here and here. Okay, you can also do the opposite thing. You can wrap this whole text inside the double quotes and wrap these two text inside a single quote. Okay, so we have written this piece of code here, so it is of no use now. Okay, so we'll comment this out by control slash. Okay, now we'll save it and we'll see is there any change happens or not. Okay, so we have a button, so we'll click it. The same functionality is showing now. Okay, so when we are writing this piece of text here, and when we are writing this piece of text here, this is of no difference. Okay, so we can write this. If you have one line of JavaScript, you can write it in line. Okay, and if you have a long JavaScript code, you can write it inside a script tag. Okay, so this is called internal JavaScript. This is inline JavaScript, and one more is there, that is external JavaScript. This is the same as the CSS part. If we write the CSS inside the particular, like targeting the particular element, that is inline element, inline CSS, and when we are writing for that particular page, that is internal CSS, and when we are like targeting the whole project, that is external CSS. Okay, so we can also write external CSS, external JavaScript. Okay, so for that we'll create a folder called index.js. Okay, now suppose here we'll give some, for this index.js we have to give the required path. Okay, so we'll remove this. So we have to, in order to link this JS file onto this index.html page, we have to give the required path. Okay, so we will give the path script src equals to, and the path of that index.js file. Okay, so we're given the path here. Okay, if we'll not give this path, the code inside this file will not run. Okay, will not be executed. It will be executed, but it will not render it to our browser. Okay, because we haven't given any path here. Okay, so the both the files will not be linked. So what we'll do is, suppose we'll write some more, uh, we'll give this hello JavaScript. Okay, so what we want is, we want to change the styling of this text here. Okay, so for changing the text, first we have to target this h3 here. Like previously we have targeted this h2 using this id. Okay, so we'll give an id of like demo 1, suppose. Okay, this is, you can take any name. Okay, so we have we target this id, this h3, with the help of this demo1 id. Okay, so we'll write this piece of code in our index.js file. Okay, so what, first we'll target it like this, because we have taken the id. Okay, so what we'll do is, we'll write document dot get element by id. Okay, so we have to target this h3, and this h3 has demo1 id. Okay, so we will give that particular id name. Okay, that is demo1, and what we want to do is change the font size. Okay, suppose we'll save it. Okay, we'll save this file also, and we'll see what happens. So we want to make this font size bigger. Okay, with the help of JavaScript, because we haven't added any CSS here. Okay, with the help of JavaScript, we will change the increase the font size. Okay, so what we'll do here is, we'll add a style dot, we want to increase the size. So for that, uh, font size properties is there. Okay, so we'll give a font size property. So here we want to give a 30 pixel height. Sorry, font size will be of 30 pixel. Now we'll save it, and let's see what happens. See, now our text text size is of 30 pixel. Previously, when we haven't added any styling to our S3, the text is of was of smaller size. Okay, when we applied this style.font size property here, the our text becomes 30 pixel size. Okay, now what we want to do is, suppose we want to like add a background color. Okay, so we can change the background color. We can apply the background color property. Okay, here suppose we will give uh, like gray background. Okay, so we'll go to our browser and refresh it. Okay, now our S3 has a gray background color. Okay, so like this, you can change the styling with the help of JavaScript. Okay, any like suppose we want to hide this thing. Okay, so we can apply the display property. Okay, so what we'll do is, we'll apply a display property here. See, the display property is coming, so we'll apply this display property, and we'll give it as none. Okay, so we'll give the display as none. We'll refresh it. See, now our text is not showing in our browser because we have given the display as none. Suppose we want to show this particular text. Okay, so here we have given the style display as none. Suppose we want to show it, so we will give a block property here. Now we'll refresh it. See, now our text is visible because we have given the display as block. So this whole thing is of was of CSS. Okay, this display property, this background color property, this font size is coming under CSS. What you have to notice is we are changing the style by using the JavaScript. Okay, we are not including any CSS file or CSS code. Okay, so like this you can change the styling with the help of JavaScript. Okay, here you have seen like we have added an event on the button. On clicking a button you can do something. Okay, so you can add an event. Various events are there. Okay, we'll know about that. Now we will move forward and we'll know about what is a variable. So a variable is a short name or a descriptive name, you can say, for holding values. Okay, suppose we have number 10, so we want to store it, we want to store it. Okay, so we have to give a name to that particular number. Okay, we can save it as variable number equals to 10. Okay, so that 10 will be stored in that particular keyword number. Okay, so let's do it. Okay, so what we'll do is here we'll write all the JavaScript code inside our script tag. Okay, so this it is of no use. Okay, so here we'll write our whole code. Okay, so how you can initialize a variable? Okay, so it's easy. You can write a var. This is a variable. Okay, so a short form of variable is var. Okay, suppose we are giving it a name as x. Okay, so variable x equals to 10. Okay, so this is a variable. This x here is is 10. So we'll assign a different value. We'll give a variable y as suppose 20. Okay, so suppose we want to add these two numbers. Okay, these 10 and 20. So what we'll do is we will assign another variable, that is z, and we will give add this to these two variables. Okay, so we are adding these two variables 10 and 20, these two x and y variables, that is storing these values 10 and 20, and we are adding it and storing it in this particular z variable. Okay, so the result will be stored in this z variable. Okay, suppose uh, for seeing this, the value inside this z, will output it inside our browser. Okay, into the screen. Okay, so we'll take a paragraph, we'll give an id to that particular paragraph, that is para. Okay, so it will be empty. Okay, so we want this particular z value to be stored in this particular paragraph. Okay, so what we'll do here is we'll target that particular para here. This id para will target it, okay, by the help of document.getElement by id, and we'll give that id name, that is para, okay, and we will give the inner html or inner text, okay, anything, and you can, like, we want to assign the, like, we don't want to give a text here, okay, we want to initial, suppose we'll give any something, suppose I have written hi, okay, so what it will do here is, suppose we'll save it and let's see, okay, we'll refresh it. So this particular paragraph is showing hi because we are writing hi in this, inside this inner html, okay, inside this paragraph. So what we have to do is we have to output this result, the z result here, okay. So simply what we'll do here is we'll simply write z here, okay, and save it, okay, and let's see what happens. Okay, we'll refresh it and see the, this is the z value because we are adding 10 and 20, that is holding x and y variable is holding 10 and 20 value, and this we are adding these two values and storing it inside the z variable, okay, and here inside the paragraph we are outputting that z value, okay, so this 30 is coming inside that paragraph, okay. So like this you can do various things, okay. Suppose we can also assign a name, suppose we'll give a name, okay, and suppose we want another name, suppose we'll give an f name for first name and l name for last name. So see here we are assigning a variable, so it is giving a short description of what it is holding here, okay. So we are placing the first name here, so we are giving a descriptive name, so f name, that is first name, okay. So always give a descriptive, with when we assign a variable, always give a descriptive name that is regarding the value, okay. So here we'll give l name, okay, and that is alam, okay. So what we'll do here is we'll want to, like, uh, output this both text ashfaq alam into this paragraph, okay. So what we'll write here is we'll give our f name because we are fetching the value from that this variable, and what we'll do here is we'll separate it by a space here, okay, and now we'll give our l name, okay. So what we are doing here is we are assigning this f name variable, that is ashfaq, okay. So ashfaq should be placed here, and here what we have done is we are placing this empty string, okay. So it is a variable and it is a string, okay, an empty string. So for differentiating it we are giving a plus sign, okay. So because it is a variable, it is a variable and it is a string, so for differentiating it we are giving a plus sign, okay. And here we have given an like underscore, okay, and then we are separating it by plus sign, and then we are giving a last name, okay, and that is l name. So we'll save it and let's see what happens. We'll save it. See, now ashfaq alam is coming to our screen because we have inserted this f name underscore l name. Okay, so this is rendered in our paragraph. Okay, suppose we'll not give an empty space here, and we'll save it and we'll refresh it. See, no space is present here. Okay, so you have to manually give a space here in order to look nice. Okay, so here you can see spaces coming because we have given an empty space here. Okay, we can perform various mathematical calculations. Here suppose we are performing addition. We can also perform subtraction. Okay, and let's save it and refresh it. Okay, so here we have to give z because we are taking this thing here. Okay, so we'll refresh it, and now it is coming minus 10 because we are subtracting x and y. First we are giving 10 and then it is coming 20. Okay, so 10 minus 20 is minus 10. So we can also give like suppose we want to like here we'll change, suppose 2, will give the x value as 2 and we'll give the y value as 3. Suppose we want to output the result as 2 power 3. Okay, so how will write, like we can't write 2 to the power 3 in JavaScript. Okay, so we will write that particular thing with the help of math. Okay, this is a library actually, and we'll use a paw method. Okay, math.paw. First we'll write the number. Okay, and suppose we want to take the number, we want to uh, output the result as 2 to the power 3. Okay, so first we'll write the number 2, then we'll write the power. Okay, so first we'll write the number 2 and then we'll provide its number. Okay, so math.paw 2 comma 3. Okay, so it is of no use. Okay, actually, so math.paw. Okay, because we are not using the variable here. Okay, so we are giving 2 comma 3, that is 2 to the power 3. So let's save it and refresh it. See, it is coming 8 because 2 to the power 3 is 8. So like this we can perform various mathematical calculations. Okay, suppose more thing, we can also do like we can also increment it. Okay, suppose what we want to do here is we'll comment this out and we will give a variable z, and what we'll do is we'll increment the x variable value. Okay, this plus plus sign is a sign of incrementing, means we are incrementing the value of x by 1. Okay, because we are not mentioning any number here, we are just incrementing it by 1. Okay, so we are assigning, incrementing, and then assigning that particular result to that variable z. Now we'll save it and we'll refresh it. Just a minute. So here what we have done the mistake here, because we haven't incremented first. Okay, so first we have to increment the value of x and then assign the value. Okay, so here we have taken the value as 2 and then we have incremented it, and then we'll assign this x value to z, that is here it is incremented by 1, so the result will be now 3. Okay, Now we'll refresh it. Now it is 3. The value of z is 3 because we have taken the x variable as 2, then we have incremented it, and then we assign the value to z. Okay, suppose like we can also decrement it, okay, by using the minus minus sign. Okay, let's save it, and now it is coming 1 because it is decrementing it by 1. One more thing you have to keep in mind that if you have initialized the x variable here, you can't reassign the variable here. Okay, suppose we have given the x value, decremented it, and we want to like output the result, and we want to give this as x only. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are taking a variable x, we are decrementing that variable, and we are assigning the result into the same variable. Okay, so we'll see what happens here. Okay, so we'll save it and we'll refresh the page, and now it is gone because this is not the case here. We can't reassign the variable twice. Okay, so in this case, what we have to do here is, suppose we want to reassign the variable, we want to increase the variable, well, we'll increase the variable value and reassign to that particular variable only. Okay, so in that case, you can do like this: variable x equals to x plus 2 means the variable is incremented by 2 and it is stored into the same variable. Okay, so like here we haven't taken, first we'll take an initial value, suppose we'll take it as 10. Okay, so we have given an initial value as 10. Okay, now we are adding like 2 to that particular variable, this particular variable, and we are outputting the result in the x in the same variable itself. Okay, now we'll save it and we are outputting the x here. We'll save it, we'll refresh the page. See, now we have assigned the result in the same variable x only. Okay, so first we have taken the initial value as 10 and stored in this variable x, then we have incremented, added 2 in this variable only. Okay, and we are storing the result in the same variable x only. Okay, so this is the correct way to do the to reassign the variable. Okay, we can also like we can write it in short also. Okay, suppose we can also do like this: x plus equals to, just a minute, variable, remove this variable, and what we'll do is we'll write it like this. Okay, x plus equals to 2. What it means that like we have written like this: variable x equals to x plus 2. Okay, so we can write it in a shorter way. Okay, that is x plus equals to 2. Okay, so we'll save it and now we'll go to our browser and we'll refresh it. See, the same result is coming in this line, the same result is coming. If we write it like this for your clear understanding, that it means that it is reassigning the variable. It is first it is adding 2 to this variable x, and then it is reassigning the result to that particular x. Okay, so this is the shorter way of writing. this particular line. Okay, so both the lines will give you the same result. See, you can see if we'll refresh, 12 is coming. Okay, we can also do multiplication here. Suppose we will give a multiplication sign here and we'll save it and we'll refresh it. So 10 minus 2 is 8. Okay, so one more operator is there, that is mod operator. Okay, so let's comment it out and then comment in. Okay, so what I'll do here is we'll take x mod 5. Mod is percentage sign. Okay, so what we are taking here is 10 mod 2 means the result that will come here, it will be the remainder, means 10 when we divide that this 10 by 2, the result, the remainder that will come, will store it in this variable x. Okay, so the remainder will come 0. Okay, so we'll refresh it. So here it is coming 0. So this mod operator gives the remainder of that particular result. So we can also write it in this shorter way. Okay, here we can give a mod sign, means here we are taking the initial value of x as 10 and then we are dividing it by 2 and then we are storing that particular remainder in this variable x. Okay, now we'll save it and we'll refresh it. The same value will give. Okay, so these are some of the operators. Okay, assignment operators and this multiplication operators. You can also assign different type of operators according to your requirements. Now we have a little bit of knowledge of variables, and now we'll study about data types. So how many data types are there? Okay, so basically there are, like, commonly used data types are strings, numbers, arrays, objects. These four data types are commonly used. Okay, so we'll write here. Okay, numbers, strings, objects, sorry, objects, arrays. Okay, so these four data types will know. Okay, so we'll comment these out. So like, we want to, will also, like, we'll give a new variable. Suppose we'll give variable num, that is 10. Okay, so we are giving this variable num as 10 here. Okay, so this is a number, you can, like, see it is a number. Okay, so how we can check which data type is this? Okay, so we will output this num value inside this paragraph here. Okay, so we will write num. Okay, and we will use this type of method here and we'll wrap that num inside that type of, so it will give the type, data type of this particular num variable. Okay, we'll give, uh, we'll keep it at the top. Okay, so we have given this num value as 10. Okay, here we are printing the type of this particular num variable. We'll save it. Now we will refresh it and see the data type of this particular num variable is number. See, you can see here it is coming number. Okay, suppose we will give any name. Suppose we will give JavaScript. Okay, we'll write JavaScript and we'll give str. Okay, here you can give any name you want. Okay, variable name, it is not compulsory. Okay, suppose you have to write, suppose it is a string. Okay, so I have written str. Okay, so always write a descriptive name. Okay, so here we are writing type of, and we are mentioning the str inside that type of method. Okay, here we'll refresh it and see this is a string. Okay, it is a string. Likewise, we can also assign, like we can give a variable as obj, and we'll create an object here. Okay, suppose we can give any name Rohan, and we give it a last name as Sharma. Okay, so between these two objects we have to separate it by a comma. Okay, so we have separated it by a comma. Objects are always separated by a comma. Okay, so one prop f name is this Rohan and L name is this Sharma. Okay, now we will output the data type of this obj. Okay, so here we'll give the obj variable and we'll know the type of this particular obj variable. Okay, now we'll save it. See, now it is coming object because we are giving the object inside this particular obj variable. Okay, if it is a string, it will output the value as string. Okay, we can also like mention an array. Okay, suppose 1 2 3 4. Okay, so now we'll pass this arr variable into this type of method. Okay, now we'll save it and we'll refresh it. Here the type of array is coming object because in JavaScript arrays are objects. Okay, like these two, like these arrays don't come under like data types. These objects and arrays are reference types, and in JavaScript arrays are basically objects. Okay, we'll later learn what are reference types. Okay, so here you can see when we like mention the type of this particular variable arr, this is coming as an object, and here we are giving the array. Okay, so keep in mind that in JavaScript arrays are objects and arrays and objects are reference types. Okay, we'll come to that particular word reference types later. Okay, so keep this in mind. Now there are more data types. Okay, we'll later discuss that. Okay, so here you can suppose like we can play around with these. Suppose here like we'll give a 10. Okay, suppose here we'll add a string. Okay, so I will write a CSS. Okay, so we are adding a particular string to this number here. Okay, so what do you think? What will be the result of this particular num? Okay, suppose here will not will simply output a particular result. Okay, so we are adding a number and a string. Okay, suppose we'll save it and see what is the result. Okay, so 10 CSS. So we are adding a number and a string. Okay, so by seeing it, you can see this looks like a string. Okay, now we can check the type of this particular number. Okay, this particular num variable. Wrap it inside type of. Now we'll save it. Now we'll refresh it. See, this type of num is giving a string because when we add a number and a string, it always gives a string. Okay, suppose in this case, and suppose we'll give 10 plus 10. Okay, now we'll save it. What it will do is 10 plus 10 and then a CSS. We'll remove this type of, will simply output the result here. We'll save it. We will refresh this page and now 20 CSS. Here you can see these two numbers are first added and then it is concatenated. Okay, means it is added to that particular string. Okay, first these two numbers are added and it is added to this concatenated. You can use a concatenated word. Okay, you can when we add a number and a string, you can use the concat word. Okay, so here these two numbers are added and it is concatenated by this string. Okay, suppose what it I will do here is I will make this 10 a string. Okay, so what will be the result? So this is a number, this is a string, and this is a string. So we'll save this page and we'll refresh. So now here you can see this 10 is a number, this is a string, and this is a string. So here we are adding a number and a string. Okay, so it will not consider it this 10 as number. Okay, so here the result will come as 10 CSS. Okay, if it will consider this 10 as CSS, the result will be 20 CSS. Okay, as in the previous case. Okay, now we'll check the type of this particular result. Okay, now we'll save it and refresh the page. Okay, so this is coming string because we are adding a number and a string. Okay, so when we add a number and a string, always the result will be a string. So we have studied about these four types. Okay, so more data types are there. We will study that in the next lecture. Okay,